There's a place in the woods called Aspen Ridge. This is where we call home. We are the Popple People. Welcome to our channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today, we started with picking up the flooring for the saw shack. So we got that hauled back into the woods to the build site and unloaded. And it's a good thing that we had that tarp up because Mother Nature fired a warning shot and we ended up getting a bit of snow already. Luckily, it's still early enough in the season that it all melted, but still a sign that winter is just around the corner, and we still need to get a roof on this shack. So, gotta get that up here ASAP. There's a little bit more to do yet. The overhang lookouts need to be made and installed, as well as the drop rafter that these lookouts will rest on. That might not be the right word for this. It would be like a drop truss on a gable end, so we've been calling them drop rafters on either end. So you'll see he's got the drop rafter up already, and the lookouts are being installed and resting on top of that. These lookouts will serve as additional support on the overhanging portion of the roof, as well as a place to screw metal roofing to. We spaced these 14 inches on center, and they'll line up with the furring strips that'll be installed across the rafters next. So here's where we're at. Drop rafters and lookouts are up, and the furring strips will go up tomorrow. Hopefully that'll go pretty quick, and then we can get that metal roofing up so we can continue with the floor. The last little piece we need to add on here is the barge rafter. So he's tacking this piece of wood on just so that we know how far back it needs to go. Then he added these perches to rest the barge rafter on. This definitely helped make the installation of that much easier. With that barge rafter resting on the perches, he just needed to slide it back to that temporary piece of wood and then screw it in. Super quick, super easy. So we ended up not installing the plywood flooring right away after we did the floor joists because we wanted to limit the exposure to rain and apparently snow. So the idea was get the roof on and then come back and finish up that floor afterwards. So it would be a bit more protected from the elements. Hopefully in our next video, we'll be finishing up the floor. We made furring strips out of 1x4s and placed them every 14 inches on center. We had some leftover ring shank siding nails from when we built the shop, so we ended up using those here and it went really quick. He tacked up the ends by hand and then nailed the rest with the air gun. Those clouds were really neat, especially when we played them back on time lapse, so check out that sky. The sweet satisfaction of installing that very last furring strip. So here's what we ended up with. We have 13 rows of furring strips and metal roofing goes up tomorrow. We've got a window of just a few days of nice weather here coming up, so we're taking advantage of that to finish up the roof. We headed back in the woods the next morning, and he built this contraption to run a string line along the back side of the saw shack. Got the idea from Lumberjack's YouTube video on installing metal roofing. The idea is just to back each panel down to that string and make it quick and easy to properly align each sheet. We'll see how it works out. Well, here we go. First one. Let's see how this goes. This string line idea really worked out well. It definitely was a time saver. We'll use this technique on future projects. We'd like to build a tiny house log cabin, so we're gathering ideas and just trying out building techniques on various other projects that we're working on. Now, one thing to note about this roofing material is to properly overlap the panels. It looked a little weird because of this built-in drain channel, so the pieces didn't fit together how we expected them to. But after double checking the manufacturer's website and then watching a few YouTube videos, this is how they go together. So if you're installing similar panels, just know that this is how it's supposed to look. We ended up not pre-drilling screw holes, so we wanted to show you how we got the screws to line up well enough to satisfy even the most meticulous OCD. First, we measured up to the center of the furring strip, and then he marked the line, so he knows where to place each screw. Then give a good tap on the back of the screw gun just to puncture through the metal and drive in your screw. Super quick and easy. These metal roofing screws came with a rubber washer affixed. The trick is to not squash the washer completely. You want to squash it just a little bit. Not too tight, not too loose. It needs to be just right. And just like that, we're on the last piece. This went quick, averaging about 20 minutes per panel. Once you get to that last one, be sure you have a way to get back down off the roof when you're done. Luckily, we've got a decent bank here on the back side of the saw shack from that hill we cut into, so that worked out perfectly for plopping a ladder up here on the corner where we started out. If you'd like to get a hold of us with questions or comments, please email us at thepopplepeople, all one word, @gmail.com. or plop a comment below. We love hearing from you. Well, 360 screws and 9 panels later, this saw shack finally has a roof on it. What do you think? How does it look? Let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video and want to follow our journey, please consider subscribing. That way, you can be a Popple People too. We'll see you soon.